on the 16th of April 2013. We have invited more than 400 CEOs to Copenhagen to discuss the future around sustainability and CSR. We believe in that by doing good for the world, you also do good for your business. So we have a business mindset when it comes to social responsibility. The companies are currently taking more than they're giving to the planet, and I think this math will change. And I think it will change because the companies that care, they also win. At Chaos Pilots, we work with CSR in a number of ways. One is that we invite inspirational lecturers and people here, people that have done something within social innovation. So they come here and they inspire our students, and hopefully the other way around. Another way is that we always do learning by doing. So our students are constantly out there working with companies and NGOs, hopefully making a difference for the clients that they work with and for the world. And the last part is that it's just an integrated part of the Chaos Pilots, that we want to become part of the change we want to see in the world. So CSR is at the core of our mindset. For me personally, I work with CSR in a number of ways. I have co-founded a non-profit called You Me Family, and one of the children in the family is a CSR event named Who Cares Wins. It's an event for CEOs and head of CSR at the biggest companies in Scandinavia. We invite them to Copenhagen one time a year, and here we talk in depth about walking the talk when it comes to CSR. So what are they doing now? How can they develop further, and how can it benefit the people working for the company and the bottom line, and not least the planet? So it becomes profit, purpose, planet combined, what you also call the triple bottom line. And then in my personal life, well, I think I'm no better than all other people. Sometimes I drink water from a bottle where I should have just taken it out of the clean drinking water from the tap. And in other cases, maybe I could have used another kind of electricity or whatever. So I try to think about it. I try to act in a sustainable way, care about the environment, but I also fail. And that's also an integrated part of CSR. You're always on your way towards something better. You're never at the goal. So it's a constant journey and a progress. So that is the case for me, it's the case for the foundation, and it's the case for the Chaos Pilots. At Chaos Pilots, we have a number of specific actions when we talk about CSR. It can be very simple things, as in limiting the number of prints that we hand out to the students. It can be setting the printer to printing on both sides of the A4 sheet. It can sound almost silly, but it's actually not. If all organization companies start one place like this, we can limit the waste of paper. The same applies to, I think, for many of the students, how they live their life. They focus very much on organic, ecological food, and this is not to say that they are or we are in any way better than other people, other educations, other companies. But it's a clear part of our mindset that we want to take social responsibility, and we feel obligated to do so, but we also see benefits in this. It will differentiate the education from other educations. It will make the students leave here with a mindset that's maybe ahead of some of their competitors when they're out there on the job market. And for us also, when we work with sustainability and CSR, it opens up our minds to new solutions to complex problems. And that's what Chaos Pilots is all about. It's looking out there at the world, understanding or trying to understand the complexity, and then coming up with sustainable solutions to the problems that the world faces. So yeah, it's part of the core of why we are here. Chaos Pilots originally came out of an organization called Frontrunners. Frontrunners was founded here in Mejlgade in Aarhus, Denmark, I think 30 years ago from now. Actually, my mom was one of the co-founders, so now I'm back following the family heritage. Frontrunners was slightly different than Chaos Pilots. Frontrunners was a social experiment slash project that was to help young people that didn't really fit in into the traditional educational system, give them a place to work with projects and entrepreneurship. And out of this, the Chaos Pilots originated in 1991. It was founded by our current culture minister in Denmark, Uffe Elbæk. And the idea was to use some of the mindset from the Frontrunners and put it into a more formal education, working with projects, culture, startups. And from then, of course, Chaos Pilots has developed very much into what we are today, where we are leadership, business, entrepreneurship, education, with a social mindset. So we are not what we were 20 years ago, but we still carry forward some of the culture and some of the values, that is respect, compassion, understanding for other people, and a strong desire to become the change that we want to see in the world. If I was to highlight some amazing CSR project or CSR-based companies, in Denmark it could be two Chaos Pilot project. Sorry for the advertising again for Chaos Pilots, but I really think they are amazing in each of their forms and ideas. One is the Tibet national soccer team. It was founded back in 2001 by a Chaos Pilot, Michael Nybrandt. And the idea was not that Michael was very passionate about football, soccer. And it was not to make a political statement against China, but it was to highlight a difficult conflict in that region between China and Tibet in a non-violent way and innovative way. So what Michael did was help the Tibet people create a football team that then went to travel around the world and to play football with other small nations, but of course also highlight this conflict and come up with possible solutions. So that is one way of working with social innovation, social entrepreneurship. Another example is Bicyceli. It's a company based in Copenhagen, and the idea is for people here to hand in their used bikes and then use these to create both business and of course healthy transport lifestyle in Africa. And this is a way to create a business around a higher purpose. If I was to highlight an international CSR project or company, one example could be Green and Black. It's a company founded in the UK by a female entrepreneur, Josephine Fairley, who's also attending the CSR event Who Cares Wins in Copenhagen. I think it was an amazing project back then, and still is. It was one of the pioneers within fair trade. I think it was the first company in the UK doing fair trade in this kind of big business. And it was also one of the first global brands in the world to work with fair trade, and that is to have a social mindset in how you do business. So Josephine Fairley really proved that you can combine purpose with profit and planet. It's not just something we talk about and say it would be nice in the ideal world, you can actually do it if you have CSR at the core of your business. If I was to give a good piece of advice for people that want to start working with CSR or that are already working with it professionally, I would use the Chaos Pilot mindset and say that you have to dare to fail. Because working with CSR is a journey that never ends, and it's filled with a lot of obstacles on your way. So you have to be brave enough to say, yes, we want, for instance, to handle our supply chains. It's a difficult area. How do we get the goods produced? How can we make sure that people producing it in China have good conditions, get a fair salary, and so on? Well, you can't, but you can start working with it professionally and get some way along the road. And that is why along the road you will also fail and realize we didn't do it good enough, and you have to start all over again. I think it's the same if you want to integrate CSR into the core of your business, doing social innovation. It will give you benefits compared to other companies because you will have a different kind of mindset, which will bring about new ideas, but it will also be challenging. The world is still not there where it's 100% accepted that you combine doing good with also doing a good business. That is still controversial in some countries. So also here you will realize that there will be people opposing your ideas, for which reason they will sometimes fail. So the good advice is just to keep on trying, and eventually you'll hopefully get there.